Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Hamilton. I'm the CEO of NuEnergen, and very pleased to be a part of this Wednesday afternoon speed dating process. NuEnergen provides energy cost optimization services to our mining clients in North America, and I'll get into that in a moment, what those strategies look like. But first, I'd like to talk to you for just a moment about what's happened in the United States over the past 5 or so days. As many of you have personally experienced, we've had extreme heat conditions, unhealthy heat conditions across much of the country, in California, in Arizona, in the Dakotas, in New York, in the upper Midwest. And the reason I mention that and why it's important to miners, those of you who are on-grid miners, is that you help to keep the lights on. There is not, as some of you may know, there is not another industry in the United States that has electric loads that are as dispatchable, curtailable as miners. And when the heat gets very hot and the power grid is stressed, your electric loads are available for curtailment, which of course keeps the lights on. And it keeps infirm people, elderly people, those of whom we love and our families out of harm's way. So we should all be mindful of that, especially when certain policymakers across the United States say less than nice things about the mining community. The reality is that each of you who own and operate mines are critical resources to the electric power grid and its reliability in the United States, and I congratulate you for that. So let's talk about energy cost optimization services. Today, unlike a few years ago, those of you who operate and own mines ought to think of those mines as power plants. And the way you optimize your electric cost is by making your power plants, your mines, available for curtailment in the various programs that exist across the United States. And there are different flavors of these curtailment programs that exist across the country. And so it's important that each of you develop relationships with demand response providers, energy services companies like NuEnergen, and others who are here today to help understand what the opportunities look like. So there are traditional demand response programs, capacity-based demand response. There's also the opportunity to bid your consumption or your capacity for electricity into wholesale energy markets. I know there have been some talks about that earlier today. Maybe some of you saw that. But you have an opportunity to bid your capacity or to work with someone like ourselves who can bid your capacity into, on a wholesale, day-ahead or real-time basis, energy markets and be paid for not consuming electricity. And that's why we have the headline up here, monetizing your energy whether you use it or not. And so that's one part of the equation. Another part of the equation is as you're developing your sites and starting operations, you want to make sure that you have the right tariff in place. If you're in a deregulated marketplace across the United States where you have options for electric supply, you want to make sure that you have a rational electricity purchasing strategy in place with third-party providers or with your local utility company. And it's also wise and prudent to have a third party auditing your electric bills. Trust me, there will be errors in those bills. And we know that as part of your ongoing OpEx, electricity is among the largest of cost centers. And so when you roll all of those energy cost optimization strategies together, making sure you're on the right tariff, making sure someone is auditing your bills, being sure that you're available and participating in all demand response programs, different flavors of that exist across the country. When you roll that all up together, you might be able to shave more than a penny or so per kilowatt hour off of your energy cost center, which I know is very meaningful. So I encourage you to avail yourselves of those opportunities, those strategies. If you'd like to speak with NuEnergen, my team's on the other side of the curtain over there. They're great, they're terrific. They'll treat you with transparency and due consideration, and we'd love to speak with you about it. And lastly, back to the whole matter of the heat wave last week, please understand the value that your assets, that your sites provide to our communities. There is a community benefit to Bitcoin miners being available to curtail electric load when asked to do so, to keep the lights on, to avoid a blackout or a brownout. So please keep that in mind, and thanks very much for your attention. Have a great rest of the conference. Take care.